Nicaragua leaves the Organization of American States. The State Department reaction is full of irony. Today, Nicaragua withdrew from the Organization of American States, the OAS, in the final act of a 2-year exit process. The OAS role is to bring together all the countries North, South, and Central America to increase cooperation in the hemisphere and to address hemispheric issues. Nicaragua was the second country to withdraw, Venezuela was the first, and Cuba was ejected from the organization in 1962, but is in the process of readmission. Nicaragua, like Venezuela, is a communist-aligned state and is leaving over a dispute over human rights and, ironically, democratic principles. The current president of Nicaragua is Daniel Ortega and is the leader of the Sandinista party. Ortega was a revolutionary leader in the 1970s and assumed the top levels of power from 1979 to 1990 and again in 2000 to the present day. So Ortega has been a dominant figure in Nicaraguan politics for almost 50 years. Ortega's decision to quit the OAS is based on OAS accusing his government of undemocratic principles and human rights abuses. Specifically, it's from the accusation of Ortega's November 2021 election when he won, but after he jailed 7 opposition presidential candidates, eliminated 3 opposition parties, and canceled the electoral observers. The withdrawal is now effective after 2 years since his election win. The U.S. State Department responded to the withdrawal today by stating that even though Nicaragua left the OAS, it is still bound by the treaties and the agreements it signed while a member of the OAS, and the U.S. and the OAS will hold them accountable to uphold human rights. Daniel Ortega undoubtedly rigged the election to ensure his victory, but the State Department's response today and in the past over Nicaragua leaving the OAS are full of irony and shows that Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Attorney General Merrick Garland are not communicating. What makes the entire statement laughable is that the U.S. has 4 criminal indictments against President Trump. January 6th incitement case in Washington, D.C., the classified documents case in the Southern District of Florida, the Stormy Daniels payment case in New York City, and the election interference racketeering case in Atlanta, and 2 civil cases. The prosecution of President Trump is part of a Democratic election strategy to tie Trump in civil and criminal trials that have prosecutors and plaintiffs requesting trial schedules that run from October 2023 to August or September 2024. The hope is to drain Trump financially, keep him in the courtrooms instead of the campaign trail, have gag orders issued against him, use the accusation to use the 14th Amendment to keep him off state ballots, and the hope for at least one conviction. All these cases are clearly coordinated from Washington, D.C., and in using the court system against the leading opposition candidate is unprecedented in the U.S. Merrick Garland and the Biden administration's actions were warned by critics that jailing your opposition is something that happens in, Nicaragua, and not in the U.S. The State Department has no credibility to attack someone as despicable as Daniel Ortega because the U.S. has lost its moral authority on such election matters because of the actions of the Democratic Party to use the power of the state against Donald Trump. Critics warn that such action against the former president would hurt the U.S. moral authority in the world, and it did not take long for it to become true.